A cement light bulb? What?
Those are the English lyrics.
Why does Persona have cement light bulbs? Okay, so we reloaded the game after it crashed. Good job.
I saved right before, so not too much progress has been lost. But we've reached the end anyway, because clearly this is
a boss fight.
This is important.
This has got to be a boss fight.
We'll see.
Okay, so we're gonna talk to this obvious boss.
Well, if this is a boss, this would be the first one in the game. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah. This character's too designed to not be a boss. Like, come on.
No, it's just giving us exposition dump. We're still searching for the MacGuffin.
That's going to be the secret of this game, isn't it? There aren't going to be any actual like boss fights, are there?
No, there's there will be. I mean, it's a JRPG for God's sake. It wouldn't be one if there weren't boss fights.
Well, you say that.
But we're getting backstory. Look at this.
Cool. What are they talking about?
They're talking about building a city.
Good.
And with the city, it seems to be everyone who lived in it were somehow immortal.
So they were elves.
Almost. However, other cities were jealous, so they're like, hey, we want some of that immortality. Why don't you give us some?
The Amber Throne.
Drop. Look at that.
The man in white seeks the Amber Throne.
The man in white, they're really referring to the white sages that we encountered one of them near the start of the game.
Right. I mean, at least one of them looked like it was probably a man.
Yeah, the one chasing us was probably female.
Okay, so we don't have a boss fight. That's kind of disappointing, but alright.
Don't worry, there is at least one boss fight in this game. And I'll let you know which one is the first one we're going to encounter.
So are we leaving the swamp now, or?
Yeah, we're out of the swamp. On to the next setting. Which is like the swamp was really a transitional stage, I guess, because like this next one is like the actual location of the thing that we're seeking. Also, we're getting an explanation of what these things are.
We've already seen an airship anchored at one of them. I don't think we needed that explained to us.
Well, some players maybe they missed them.
That's classic JRPG level explaining what the game already showed to the player.
Yeah, that's the worst. Like when you get tutorial prompts on the game mechanics you already used.
Like I thought it was actually really clever that earlier in the game, like we just walked past one of these anchoring points and there was an airship anchored to it. Like you naturally intuit that's what it's used
by
for.
the way, that airship was Nuo's. Like that's literally the airship that we're in right now.
So we suddenly just have an airship. Okay.
Yeah. Somehow it's here. Like I don't know how we managed to get the airship here, but yeah, we've got the overworld. Some of these locations we actually can't enter right now.
I would think we probably wouldn't be able to enter most of them.
Yeah, it's a bit misleading because like there are crosses on the world map because like you'd think there oh wait, no, never mind. You'd have to have found the anchor points first.
Yeah. Did he tell us where we had to go?
Well, yeah. I was just testing out the airship. We were already at the location that on the way to progression.
Oh, okay. So we went backwards, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But this guy just like moved out of the way, and we could. I don't need to sequence break this part to enter this cave.
Finally, we can get the experience that we had for exploration earlier legitimately this time.
Yes. Hopefully, I don't run into any overpowered monsters.
I mean, it didn't look too much more powerful than you.
That's because I I did sequence break this area when I did that glitch where I had an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
And the enemies further into this area could initiate combat.
Well,
and they're definitely higher level.
Yeah, you got into combat with one of them, and you actually killed it anyway.
Maybe. Maybe it was this thing, or
no, it was one of the
on.
It was one of the enemies in the area that we couldn't have gotten into normally.
Right. Okay. By the way, between the videos, I finally figured out how to gain skills.
So you're not even gonna show us that?
I will eventually.
Man.
But like 2 episodes ago when I had that like 10 minutes of nothing, that was a definite oversight because I definitely cut a lot of footage, a lot of filler. That just slipped by. And one of the filler was like me actually learning how to use the skill gain system. But eventually I will show it off after I like level up more and like get more skill points. But like in my defense, we're in episode 7 and I've been playing this game for like over 3 hours. In my defense, the game didn't tell me how to gain skills, and most JRPGs you just get them automatically when you level up.
There is the big like skill tab in the menu every single time you open it.
I thought it was just skill descriptions. I'm like, well, why do I need to read that when I could just view what it does in battle? Alright?
I'm just saying,
it's not because I'm incompetent.
Generally speaking, when I'm playing a JRPG, I go into the skill tab even if I don't necessarily need to. Mm-hmm. Like when I'm playing Final Fantasy IX, I check the skills all the frickin' time.
Oh yeah, and we can actually go further. There was a thing in my way, so that's for later. It's a Metroidvania style. Well, why even open this area when I don't have the things necessary to progress into it?
Right.
And I think, yeah, at this point I was actually trying to like experiment, see if I can I go in? No.
Into the Sky Castle right now?
Into the final dungeon.
Really, really early? Like when we're probably severely underleveled?
I like trying it out.
It's just, so what you're saying is that you're the type of person who, when you're playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you go to Ganon first thing.
Oh, absolutely. Like, well, I wouldn't... Well, I haven't played the game, but I wouldn't attempt that if I wasn't told that I could do that, honestly. Because, like... well, now that I do know that, then yeah, of course I'm going to try that,
Just to see how quickly he kicks your ass when you only have, like, 3 hearts?
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, it's obvious at that point, like, a single hit would KO me, but, speedrunners have done it. It is possible to beat Ganon with 3 hearts and
sure.
a rock.
technically,
rock as a weapon.
I like all the videos about people like trying to bring cuckoos into the final boss arena, and then the game's just like, nah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Breath of the Wild has a lot of experimentation. I think it encourages that.
I would be more interested in eventually getting the game if it didn't have shitty weapon degradation and stamina systems.
You mean like Dark Souls?
Except a lot worse than Dark Souls.
Is it worse?
A lot worse.
Oh, I haven't. Well, the only like complaints I've heard about that is I think it was Jim Sterling who that was one of his major complaints.
Yes,
Aside from that, I didn't really hear that sort of complaint from anyone else.
He infamously got a lot of hate from Zelda fans for giving the game a 7 out of 10 because that.
I know that much as well.
But yeah, like the difference between Dark Souls and Breath of the Wild, as if that needs to be explained.
Apparently, it does.
Is that in Dark Souls, generally speaking, your weapon degradation is reversible for one thing, and doesn't go down fast enough that your weapons break in the middle of combat most of the time. Like I've played a lot of Dark Souls. I have not played as much Dark Souls as some people have, probably including you, but I've played a lot of Dark Souls, and
of course not.
I've never had a weapon break on me, so. And like the whole point of Breath of the Wild is that you're supposed to get weapons so frequently that it doesn't matter that your weapons break because you're just cycling through weapons constantly.
Yeah.
Because you can't repair them or repairing them. I don't know if there's a repair function in the game, but there are a very limited number of weapons that don't have durability.
I can't imagine a Master Sword would just break on you.
Yeah, the Master Sword is one weapon that doesn't have durability. As far as I know, it might be the only weapon that doesn't have durability. I don't know. But... And then the stamina in the game factors into when you're trying to do things like climb a mountain. And...
in the case of climbing, I think that makes sense. It's so the player, there's an actual limit.
Yeah, but then you get
where to go.
You get halfway up where you're trying to go, and then the game's just like, nah, fuck you. And like, and the thing is, like, you have.
Wait, what happens? Does Link just let go?
Well, I don't know exactly, but it's just like, what do you think would happen when you're trying to do something that requires stamina and then it suddenly runs out? Mm-hmm. And like the weird thing about it is that you can arbitrarily upgrade your stamina, like by doing the optional shrines and stuff in the game. So it's like they knew that the stamina system was inconvenient, and they knew that players would want to like try to make it less inconvenient, but they kept it in anyway.
Right. I didn't know that you could upgrade your stamina. I thought you had like the same good chunk of stamina throughout the whole game.
No,
because like it's so like such a core thing that you'd think that you'd have the same amount of stamina, and the game is designed around that amount of stamina.
Yeah, no. And that's part of the critical difference between like the way stamina works in Dark Souls as well, because stamina in Dark Souls is a resource that you need to actively manage, whereas stamina in Breath of the Wild is just an inconvenience.
I still want to play Breath of the Wild.
I mean, by all accounts, the game is good. Yeah.
That's speaking of weapon degradation, like that's one of my weird qualms about like Fire Emblem. Well, the only one I've played is Awakening, but even then I thought it was weird how like you can get unique weapons that have survived through the ages, passed down through heroes of previous eras. But you can only swing it 20 times until it just completely disintegrates.
And then you have
oh, awesome.
You have Crumb's Falchion, which doesn't have any durability at all.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, why even give this character any other weapon when they can have this one that has infinite usage? It's just a waste not to use that weapon on this character all the time.
I would like if, because the game lets you craft weapons, sort of, I guess.
In Fire Emblem.
I don't think Awakening does, but
it has. Okay, Awakening has weapon upgrades.
Yeah.
And it's why? I can only use it 10 more times until it's completely gone. Why spend money on upgrading it?
Well, I mean, with some weapons, it's anyway.
Certain ones, but you'd never on a common one.
I don't know. I get a lot of use out of steel swords in Fire Emblem games.
Yeah, since you get so many, it's you could just use steel swords. Oh wait, no. I think it's because I'm stingy with my money.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
So, that's the crux of this. The difference between you and I.
I think there's weapon crafting in some of the Fire Emblem games that came out after Awakening. I could be wrong. I haven't played a lot of them.
I wouldn't know.
But either way, I wish that there was some way to get certain specific weapons that didn't have durability. Just because managing weapons that break isn't that fun. I don't know. I don't like it.
I haven't played Fates, but I'm glad that they removed weapon degradation. But I know people didn't like that change.
Yeah.
But I know people did like that change, like me. But it just removes having to manage. It's all right. Well, do I want to take this sword that has 7 more usage left?
Yeah.
Or do I want to take this sword that has full HP?
That's another thing that I just find an inconvenience in the game, rather than actually making it more strategic or anything like that. Because it just means that when my weapon breaks, I need to replace it. Because I'm not gonna stop using a steel sword because it just means that my characters end up carrying 3 steel swords at all times.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, what I like to do is have different weapons with different levels of attack. So I make sure not to over attack them, otherwise I'd be wasting it. I'll try to use the weakest weapon that is able to kill the enemy.
In Awakening, I started a new game relatively recently, in which I actually decided to start leveling Donald, who is stupidly powerful.
Why would you not? Donald, he's a beast.
I eventually got him to the point where he was. I had reclassed him a couple times, and he ended up as a hero, because of course.
Good all around.
And he got to the point where I would just have him he had steel swords, but he would just use a bronze sword for everything because his luck was so high that its durability never went down, and his damage and accuracy and crit were so high that he always one-shot enemies anyway.
I love how Donald becomes a badass, but he still has that fucking pot on his head.
Yeah.
So good.
Donald, yeah. For anyone who's played Awakening and was oh, Donald's so garbage because he starts out really bad. He does, but he also
his growth stats are the best.
Like, literally. He ends up becoming one of the strongest characters in the entire game.
And, like, ironically, one of the best characters you get, like, to begin with, Frederick, he becomes one of the worst characters.
Yeah.
Because he starts off
As
he gains XP so little.
Yeah.
Because he's already, like, high level, but still doesn't have that high level stats.
Yeah, he's a prestige class that prestiged when he was level 10.
Yeah. That's like, why? That's like, that's a waste, prestiging at level 10. We just got a new weapon for Ara, so we'll see a new sword sprite in
Fabulous.
Battle, which is great. Do that, RPGs. I can understand not changing the characters' like armor and clothing. You know, especially for 2D games where you'd have to redraw like fucking everything. But weapons, you know, I think you can spare a few days drawing all those different weapons.
So what's this? How many weapons do we get anyway?
Like in total?
Yeah, if you recall, or like are there a significant number, or is it small enough to?
I'd say like, okay, we got 5 characters, 5 party members total. And I'd say on average like 6 or 7 max. Like for each of them, and I don't even like get all of them because you know you have to buy some, and you know what I mean.
So this one looks more like a scimitar.
Yeah, it's different. It's just it's not a longsword.
Hurrah!
I love how Nugo just has a mortar.
Yeah.
What other JRPG has a mortar?
That's the most absurd thing.
That reminds me in Resident Evil, when you see all the STARS members, like the entire team. There's a guy in the corner who has a mortar. I'm like, what the hell are you going to use that for? And he's like, I don't think he ever got a name. In fact, I think in later versions he was like edited out because like he never got anything other than the fact he was a guy with a mortar.
Yeah.
They need I like seeing unconventional weapon types for JRPG party members because like I'm getting kind of sick of like the main character just getting a sword. I'm like, just like anything, please. That's why I like how P5 it's a knife. I'm like, good. It's not a damn sword.
I mean, I personally am a big fan of swords, so that doesn't.
Well, you know, swords are fine. I just don't like seeing. I just don't like the protagonist having the sword and then the weirder weapons being given to the lesser party members.
I don't know,
like,
man.
You know, why can't the main guy get a weird weapon?
I'm super into Cloud's Buster Sword. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, okay, that's a weird weapon in my opinion. I don't consider that as a normal short sword. And even then, like, you know, swords are also fine if they have a weird design, because like, I'm thinking of other Final Fantasies, like, you know, the Gunblade.
Titus's sword is pretty weird, sort of.
It is pretty weird,
but that's mostly in its design rather than its actual function as a sword.
It doesn't have anything special with like how it uses it.
Well, the thing about like Final Fantasy X's weapons is that like they just have a whole bunch of
it's just stats.
Well, they have a whole bunch of effects on them. So like when you get kind of the iconic, quote unquote, Titus sword in the game storyline. It's like it has like water damage on it, and it has a whole bunch of weird like stat boosts and stuff. But
right.
yeah, but it is pretty much a regular sword.
But it just uses it like a normal sword.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. At least with the gun blade, it can fire stuff from a distance. Right?
Well,
I've never played FF8, so I just went my assumption.
So there's a weird functionality in Final Fantasy VIII that you have with Squall's gunblade. It doesn't fire, like it's not a functional gun, but
it has chambers.
But if you press the R1 trigger at the right time during Squall's attack animation, he'll automatically crit an enemy because he pulls the trigger of the gunblade.
Okay.
And that same sort of thing does play into Squall's limit break as it works in 8, because his main limit break is you have to hit all of the R1 triggers at the right time so that you get extra attacks on the enemy.
Okay, right.
So there is a little bit of that sort of functionality in the game, but it's not like he doesn't use it as a gun.
Okay, well.
Whereas
it's at least just not a normal sword.
Well, yeah. Whereas comparatively, there's a gunblade as well in Final Fantasy 13, which does function as both a gun and a sword, because it
Does lightning use it?
What's that?
Does lightning use it?
Yeah, that's Lightning's weapon. Because
okay.
it collapses, so it's a collapsible sword. So it's a sword when it's like fully extended, and she can like collapse it and use it as a gun.
Right. Okay.
Which is pretty weird.
I can accept that level of uniqueness.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah. But it's just like when I look at, I guess, going back to Persona, like 3 and 4, I'm like, why can't I hold a bow and arrow?
Main character just using katanas.
Yeah, it's like, like with P4, like you just had to give the protagonist the most boring ass weapon, like ever. It's a fucking katana.
And 3.
And 3. Well, at least the female protagonist has a naginata. Like that's different.
I actually haven't gotten. I have a save file started as the girl, but I haven't started playing it at all.
Do you know the differences?
I know that there are different social links, but I don't really know. I don't know the specifics of how they play out or anything like that.
Well, excluding social links, well, there are the same social links, with the same characters, but the interactions are way different.
Yeah.
And also the main story, aside from obviously he's and she's being different, the character relationships are different if you are a girl.
Yeah, I've heard that most people
and not just romance, by the way.
I've heard that most people prefer the narrative of the girl compared to the original narrative, which is actually part of why my main kind of save file is as the boy, because I want to get through that first and then see the narrative that people are like, oh yeah, this one's better than the original one.
Right. It's just well, even in video's over.
Anyway.
Next time we will talk more about Persona.
Well, or JRPGs of some kind.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much this entire series.